Neil Lumsden stays top in the Fantasy League. Stuart Wood has the best weekly score, though, with a huge 814. That's a brilliant score, so well done, Stuart.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for our Super League recaps. We're now going to move into talking about other results from around the world of Rugby League.
So in other results, it was, and the Women's Super League, in Group 2, it finished Barrow 38, Bradford 0, Wakefield 6, Lee Miners Rangers 36. And moving into the Championship, where it was round 24, it finished Workington 16, Dewsbury 22, Halifax 42, Newcastle 10, Lee 100, York 4.
Yeah, Centurions by name and by nature, eh?
Yeah, definitely. It's a big statement score there.
Crazy win, yeah.
London Broncos 30, Atley 20, Widnes 18, Sheffield 30, Barrow 24, Featherstone 34, and Bradford 4, Whitehaven 12.
Yeah, so that means Lee are top on 46 points, and they're one win away from being confirmed as league leaders going into the playoffs. Featherstone have 41 points, one win away from confirming second place. Halifax have 36 points, Batley have 32, Barrow have 31, and York have 30 points. They're all confirmed in the playoffs, although York are somewhat limping in by the looks of that. On the outside, Sheffield, Widnes and Bradford...
Pulling them all into a false sense of security.
Sheffield, Widnes and Bradford all have 22 points. London have 17, Newcastle have 15, and Whitehaven have 13 points. They just need one more win now to... or one more Dewsbury loss to secure their safety. You'd think they're probably safe already, really. Dewsbury have 7 points. Relegated Workington, they say, on 2 points. In terms of news, the big news out of the Championship this week, I suppose, is up in Newcastle, where the Thunder will return to a part-time model from 2023. They had returned to full-time ahead of the 2022 season for the first time since back when they were in Super League as Gateshead Thunder in 1999. Dennis Betts has confirmed as well that he will leave Newcastle Thunder at the end of the season. The club's director of rugby said he would depart following this decision to return to part-time. Obviously, there's big changes that are going to have to be made with that decision, you'd think. But that's big news, isn't it? And Newcastle really haven't had the season that they would have hoped for with going full-time this year.
Yeah, whether they put too many eggs into that basket and now can't afford to sustain it for another year, which is a shame.
Yeah, you got to think there'll be some young players who've benefited from being able to have that full-time environment, and but it also then makes you wonder, will they lose players because of it? Will there be players who want to move maybe back closer to home if they're going to have to find jobs as well as alongside playing the rugby? Or will the Newcastle club be able to find partners in the local community to be able to, gyms and building companies or what have you, or any other kind of job that these kids and players are qualified for that can help get them back into and stuff? I don't know, but it could be potentially really bad if they lose the core of that side. Although it's not like the side did great this year. They certainly upheaval going from in such a short turnaround as well. I mean, they lost the head coach as well, didn't they? So the whole infrastructure of the club's changing again.
Yeah. I wish them all the best, really.
For sure, yeah, because it's a club that everyone wants to do well. Because I think one thing that people kind of agree on is, in terms of expansion of the sport and stuff, like these heartland adjacent clubs that have been around for a long time now. So so your London Broncos, they've been around for a long time, even though they're far away. It doesn't take long to get to London if you get on the right train. Newcastle, far away, but still they've been around for a long time, as Gateshead, then Newcastle. York obviously been around forever. Sheffield and Doncaster have both. Doncaster are basically a heartland club that just a bit further away, and Sheffield, they've been around for a long time. I think all rugby league fans do have a soft spot for those sorts of clubs that are plugged away on the fringes of the heartlands.
Yeah, and I think well, nearly everyone has a real affinity with Newcastle for Magic Weekend, and you sort of feel that, the team's got a bit of a link there as well, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. So I think everyone will be wishing him the best, like you said there. Bradford have completed the signing of Huddersfield back row or centre Chester Butler on a 2-year deal. Butler, who's 26, has spent the season on loan at Odsal anyway, scoring 4 tries and 15 appearances. So they've retained him on a 2-year deal, permanent basis there. So that's it for the Championship.
Yep, so moving into League One, where it was round 20, and it finished West Wales 4, the Midlands 36, North Wales 28, Rochdale 24, Cornwall 12, Oldham 32, Swinton 38, Hunslet 12, Doncaster 18, Keighley 48.
Yeah, the main headline in League One is that Keighley secure promotion as champions on the back of that big win away at Doncaster on 36 points with just 2 rounds left. North Wales are second on 30, Swinton third on 28, Doncaster fourth on 26, and Rochdale fifth on 24. The other point of interest, we talked about it a bit last week, but it's getting even more interesting with those results. Hunslet have the last playoff spot on 17 points, but Oldham are closing in on 15 and with a better points difference. They will play each other in the final round. The Hurricanes and the Scholars have 10 points. Cornwall and West Wales have 2 points. New story out of League One relating to Oldham, actually. Jamaica international forward Jordan Andrade has expressed his disappointment after Oldham terminated his contract. The Ruffians tweeted that they had parted ways with Andrade due to gross misconduct. They added they would make no further comment. Replying to their tweet announcing the news, Andrade said, "Contract terminated after being hungover on a Saturday morning after a family celebration. I'm a part-time rugby player with 2 young children. I have tried my best all season. Just to get chucked out like that and then to tweet this. I am honestly gutted, but nothing surprises me. I held my hands up and apologised for a poor choice, but wasn't enough. Sorry." Interesting, isn't it, that?
Yes, I saw that whenever it was that it came out. It is difficult, isn't it? Because, yeah, he is a part-time rugby player. But then I guess what does his contract say? Does it say anything about this? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of... Also, like, having 2 young children, well, what's that got to do with...
Well, yeah.
But
I've got 2 young children, and that's why I was drunk.
I suppose it's about priorities, isn't it? And things like that. I can I sort of fall on the club side here, because if he's expected to turn up to something on a Saturday and he's not doing because he's hungover,
yeah,
and it's not, when you're trying to force your way into the playoffs and find your way back into the Championship and that sort of stuff, I don't necessarily think it's what you're looking for. However, like, if it has just been a one-time mistake that is tried to make amends for, then you sort of have some sympathy then when you talk about second chances or not. But we don't know if there's anything else that's underlying here, that maybe it wasn't going great between him and the club anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's too difficult to actually make a proper judgment about, because we don't really know much of we know no background, do we? And is that the actual reason for the allegation of misconduct, or is that what he's decided to attribute it to?
Yeah. I mean, you can see that as gross misconduct.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Cornwall have announced Liam Whitton has signed a new deal to keep him at the club for the 2023 season, so I think he's been one of their brighter players, the fullback, so good news for them.
Yep, in the Wheelchair Super League, it finished Halifax 38, Wigan 22, and the London Roosters 0, Leeds 38. Yeah,
I think we're back to being Halifax and Leeds as the top 2 dogs, aren't we, in the Super League? So Wigan, valiant effort this season, but Halifax coming out on top there.
Yes, and in the NRL, it was round 23, and it finished Rabbitohs 22, Panthers 26.
And as because we need the context, NRL Review said, a highly entertaining game with the injury-depleted Black Pussies. Latrine Mitchell got angry like a red and green Hulk, but it wasn't enough.
It finished the Cowboys 48, the Warriors 4.
And NRL Review says, with the concerned season already over, they didn't look worried, and their heads were spinning when the reverse Cowgirls pounded them.
The Broncos 12, the Storm 60.
Despite being down 24-6 at half-time, the Ponies were hoping to gallop home. Then the mist descended. The Ponies drowned under the pressure. Here comes the rain again.
The Eels 42, the Bulldogs 6.
The Puppies took an early penalty, but then the Snakes constricted the Puppies and then turned it on. The Puppies had no answers despite having Josh Autocar and Jack leave him alone Burton.
And it was the Sea Eagles 6, the Sharks 40.
Aldi Heath Ledger was in fine form as the Flappers were scattered and looked uninterested. Blood was in the water.
And the Roosters 72, West Tigers 6.
NRL Review said, seriously, what a dicking.
I also finished the Dragons 46, the Titans 26, and the Knights 22, the Raiders 28.
Yeah, the Panthers secure another minor premiership on 40 points with a 6-point lead and 2 rounds left. The Cowboys and Sharks are on 34 points, with the Storm complete in the top 4 on 32 points. Eels have 30, then Roosters, Rabbitohs and Broncos all have 28 points to complete the top 8. The Raiders are now the only team who can break into the playoff picture. They have 26 points with 2 rounds left, and to be honest, at half-time of that game against the Knights, they didn't look like they were in the race anymore, but good second half from them. Turned it around. Some big scores in the NRL this year. This week, and some big margins of victory. You know, you've got the Cowboys hammering the Warriors, the Storm hammering the Broncos, the Eels hammering the Bulldogs, the Sharks hammering the Sea Eagles, and the biggest one of them all, really, that Roosters versus West Tigers result. They're sort of having a bit of a freak out down under, apparently, about these wide score margins. But
it's the sort of thing that you don't normally get, isn't it, in the NRL?
No, you don't see it too often, but I do think of those games, only one of those games was between teams still in contention. That's the Broncos and the Storm game. The rest was like a team that's in contention against a team that's well out of it. So you do wonder about maybe some teams' motivations at the end of the season when they're already, the race is already run, maybe. But I don't think that the odd blowout is a bad thing.
I'm fully in favour of it.
It's as long as it's the odd blowout, eh, Sarah?
Well, I'd be grateful if it was only the odd blowout, yeah.
Some relevant NRL news for us. Ryan Sutton has played his last game for the Canberra Raiders after suffering a hand injury. Sutton, who's 27, is reportedly heading to Canterbury Bulldogs on a 3-year deal from 2023. That's obviously Love Rugby League are reporting what's being reported down under. And it's been said that he suffered a ligament injury to his hand that will rule him out of the rest of the campaign. I think he must have been an outside chance for a chance for the England squad as well. His performances have been strong in the NRL for the last few years. But he always seems to get an injury towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
I wonder. I assume that will also rule him out of any World Cup contention now as well. So it's a shame for him.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you, at this stage?
We did get a viewing on, or a reviewing on another game that took place this weekend. A very rounded review about the Dundee Dragons versus the Sheffield Eagles Wheelchair Rugby League match that was played this weekend. It finished 34-6 to Dundee and Bruiser 6-6-4. Sean got in touch. He said, Eagles made their furthest away trip of the year, making the 650-mile round trip to Dundee to face the experienced Dundee Dragons. Sheffield gave possibly their strongest performance of the season so far, with much of the first half being played in Dragons territory. Dundee's experience showed with their 5 Scotland Cup players, and they were able to keep Sheffield out and break through to take a 22-0 lead at half-time. The Eagles' pressure showed in the second half, however, with the young Christopher Brown scoring in the corner, with Vicky Brooks converting. Sean Orson came an inch from scoring before being tackled, and Dundee were only able to score twice in the second half. It was a heck of a long trip to Dundee, taking around 7 hours each way, but everyone had a fantastic time over the whole weekend. It was the most difficult pitch I've played on, and everyone knew they'd had a workout by the end. Our best performance this year, though, having lost 88-4 at home to them and being without our Irish international due to injury, the other players